Sterling.
Good morning. How are you?
Doing well, man. How about yourself?
Awesome. You ready for a busy day?
Yeah, man. I'm logged in, ready to go.
Awesome. There we go. All right. So plan for the day is first we're going to go to Annie's ALF. I'm going to meet with Latonia there. We're going to do a site visit. You don't need to join for that. Just prep for the pipeline meeting at 10:30 because you'll run that. And then we're going to have lunch at Ocean Prime with CFO Associates. Paulo and Rolando will be there. Christian Negroni is going to join us as well. And then we have a call later on in regards to the construction project down in Naples for NY. And then we have drinks at 4 o'clock at the Addition with Jennifer Mulligan and her team. So you can just come meet us at noon at Ocean Prime and then roll with us from there.
Sounds like a plan, man. Looking forward to it.
Awesome, buddy. All right, brother. See you soon.
All right, talk to you soon.
All right, bye.
Bless them, darling. More plays off of homegrown. Good cause coming. Post haste, no more prolong. Jeez, I'm tryna get paid at the utmost. See it up close, don't freeze. I'm at the more G's. Tryna get paid, you know it's all still part of the game. They running 5 drills, I'm off for the chain, and I'm high still. Looking like Scorpion, get over here. Been some people trying to relate, ain't close to here. Think it ain't a sacred place, you done misinterpret relationships, just ain't been worth it. Fool if you think, but I don't post, I ain't working. Never too close, I know no things certain. I walk in purpose, float on surface, fly in person.
All right, so we're gonna go meet with Latonia Boykins. Latonia is an SBA customer of mine. We closed a deal for her early last year. She's an ALF operator, and so she already had a couple of facilities, and now we're going to show one of the facilities that she purchased using the SBA loan funds. So let's go. It's crazy because I live only 3 or 4 minutes away from here. You know, I live right down the street.
Oh, wow.
Right? And obviously, this is a deal that we did together,
Yes.
but I have yet to come see it.
Come on
All right.
in, guys.
Nice little
And then we have
courtyard
the
here.
security gate.
There you
Hi. Hey, Erica. Good to
How's it
see
going? I'm
you.
Sterling.
That's
Nice to meet
Sterling.
you. Oh,
And that's Erica. This
Hello there,
is
Erica.
Annie's at Lake Magdalene.
Oh, wow, this is awesome. And now, when did you actually buy this again? When did we close?
We closed June 30th.
June, oh my God, it's almost a year?
Almost a year. I can't.
That is amazing. Time flies. Okay. And so this is one of 3 properties that you acquired using
Yes.
the SBA loan.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Mhm.
And so this one obviously here is in off Lake Magdalene in the Carrollwood area.
Yes.
And then where were the other 2 properties approximately?
Carrollwood, and then there's one about 3 minutes up the street. It's on a lake. It's
Okay.
Cape Bend.
Okay.
So they're all really close. They're really close to one another, and it makes it easier.
You have a very cool story, and I'll kind of let you get into that. But you always giving back, which is something that I've
Absolutely.
always really appreciated about
Oh,
you.
thank
Is
you.
that you don't just hold the knowledge for yourself.
No.
You try and give it to everybody, and make sure that you kind of pull everybody up with you at the same time, which is something I always thought was so cool.
It's some stuff you gotta be birthed with. Leaving my mark in cursive, bleeding my heart, soothing the soul that goes to hope they purchase. But I no longer need a piece of my.
So yeah, let's talk about Annie's.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about Annie. Who's just your grandmother. So tell us how you came up with really the background for Annie's and really what got you to where you are today.
Okay. Well, my grandmother raised me. Again, my mom passed away unexpectedly, so my grandmother said, "Okay, you guys come on." It was 5 of us, and she raised me, and I just saw her sacrifice, and I saw how much life she put into us. When most people are like, "Okay, this is a part of my life where I'm getting ready to enjoy life."
Right.
Things happen to where my grandmother, she went deep inside herself and raised us, and it was tough. I have a special needs brother. There were some challenges. I at times was just kind of all over the place, a lot of pain and trauma, and so all of us, we had a lot of bags that we were unloading, and she was okay with carrying them and helping us carry them. And so as I got older and I just started thinking back and looking and going, wow, that is an amazing human that can sacrifice herself like that and for the greater good. And so that's when I started to kind of shift in my life and start saying, okay, I got to stop making these silly mistakes. She did too much for me to just be average.
Right.
And the one thing that, as I was trying to figure out a career path, was I need something that'll remind me of her. I need to keep her with me. And so that caregiving piece of myself, I didn't realize that's what I was doing all my life. I always want to caregive and take care of everybody.
Sure.
And so I thought, I want to care for people that I love, and I love seniors. And so that's how all of this kind of came about. Sure. I had no prior experience in it at all.
So you just dove right in, basically.
I did.
Wow.
I knew how to love. This type of business takes a lot of love, and it takes you to, like my grandmother, you have to dig within yourself, and you have to, as my grandma started to age, I saw her still trying to hold on to her dignity. My grandmother was still, she got dressed, she put on her clothes. She said, my wig cricket. So we fixing her wig and we're doing all those things. And those memories are things that just kind of fueled me. And I thought, you know what? There's a lot more of my grandmothers out here. Absolutely. And I want to be a part of making sure that they age gracefully.
Yeah. And you really touched on something I think is super key, and that's the love aspect.
Absolutely.
Because you can walk through this facility and you can tell that there's real love in here.
Absolutely.
You can tell, because it wouldn't look like this if you didn't love what you did.
I love it.
You know?
I love it. I love the residents. I love walking through the door and them telling me I had a great day or the meal was great. And it just, again, it takes me back to my grandmother, like minimal means. And somehow she still was able to make me feel safe and loved. And my grandmother has never said the words, I love you. No one told her that. So she just showed it. Love, and I'd say this all the time, love was in the bacon. I'm sorry to the people that don't eat meat. Love was the way
we love bacon.
Yeah, me too. But every morning I could smell the coffee, and she was cooking bacon, and that, girl, there's food in there, go eat.
Yeah, she showed you love.
She showed me.
Yeah.
And that's what I try to do for my residents, and show them that you guys have taken care of everybody.
Right.
And now it's time for us to take care of you.
And yeah, I mean, you have an amazing background, an amazing story, you know, with everything that happened to you when you were younger.
Absolutely.
You had every reason to not be here today. You know, you could have easily gone left, but you went right. You know, what was it that you think that, you know, in your mindset, in your mentality, that's driven you to continue to be making the right decisions? Because, you know, you don't just do the ALF stuff.
No.
You know, we can get into some of the other stuff that you do as well, but you know, you excel in multiple ventures now, including, you know, your real estate things that you're doing, your construction things that you're doing,
Absolutely.
you know, the mentoring that you're doing. So, you know, for somebody who, you know, maybe is younger, maybe comes from a disadvantaged background, you know, what was the mentality that you had that allowed you to continue to be successful?
You know what? I always knew and thought that I was better, and having that in my mind that there's better than this, and associating myself with people who you get to pick your friends.
Right.
So I sought out people whose lives were different than mine. And so I would look and I would just go in their homes, and there would be a 2-parent household. And people don't know this, but if you are at a disadvantage, grab hold to those things that you see that are different than what you're used to. I would walk in and I see them all eating at the table. And that made me say one day, I want to know what it's like to eat at the table. I did. It's the simple things that people take for granted.
Right.
That when you're growing up and it's chaotic and it's confusion and it's what I experienced.
Sure.
And when you see people that, wow, this is what's on the other side.
Right.
And then you get on the other side and you say, hold up, my childhood was horrible from a money aspect or financial aspect, but the values, And so then you combine them and
Right.
say, you know what, I'm going to work hard, I'm going to do these different things, but you remember that stern grandmother, that, you know, you got to have this kind of faith in these
Right.
things. So I always wanted better. There was
Right.
something inside of me that always said, Tanya, there's better out there. I just didn't know what better was.
Right. You had to go find your version.
I had to go find my version of better.
Right,
and
right.
unfortunately, it doesn't look the same for everybody. Most people look at this, and you know, when I told my husband I want to open up an assisted living facility, he just was like, "What?" He couldn't see it, and
Right.
so I did it once and fell in love with it, and
Sure.
you know, and thankful to you guys,
Yeah.
because you can't do it by yourself.
And you know, it's crazy because, you know, you told me a story, and it's kind of a full circle moment where, you know, you used to sell avocados basically right in front of what is now the corporate headquarters for Bay First National Bank. You know, you guys were hustling out there basically, you know, selling fruit, and then, you know, 25 years later, basically you're inside of the same building signing loan documents to take down 3 facilities. I mean, that's got to be incredible.
It is. I wasn't gonna talk about that because I'm trying to keep. I wasn't gonna talk about that.
So on a lighter note, let's talk really quickly about the SBA process, okay? And how that was, because, you know, that's another thing that can be daunting for people. You know, it's a little bit more paperwork than the average loan. It's a little bit of a longer process. You know, it's usually about 60 to 90 days or so to get through the entire process. So, talk a little bit about, I guess, if you could give any feedback or any type of advice to somebody who is going to be going for an SBA loan.
Okay.
What would you say?
Don't get mad at the process. If somebody's giving you some money and you have to do certain things to get it, yeah, it's going to be frustrating. Yes, they want to know everything about you. Yes, but it can happen, but you can't give up. And I think that it was tough. It wasn't that it was hard. It was just every day was something else. I'm like, what? They want more, blah, blah, blah. But I get it. And you have to have an open mind to understand that paperwork and processes and different things like that, that's necessary.
All right, so that was Annie's assisted living facility. Latonia Boykins was nice enough to show us around today. Next stop, we're going to be going to a construction site for a hotel that I financed last year. So come along for the ride.
Coming in, flex, I just wanna win, LABB who we running with, 2233, I'm on 10 again, state your name.
All right, so we are pulling up to the construction site here. This construction site is for a hotel. It's gonna be an 80-room hotel. And so we financed this last year using an SBA 504 loan. And so we're going to look at the construction site, maybe talk to the contractor a little bit, and learn a little bit about how a site like this is developed.
Flex, I just wanna win, LABB who we running with.
So as you can see, the good thing about this site is that it's right across from the Florida State Fairgrounds, which also has the Florida Amphitheater as well. And if you're familiar with Tampa, you know that the casino is only about a mile that way. That's the Hard Rock Casino. So that's what you call demand generators, which is an important thing for a hotel to have. You always want to have at least 2 or 3 demand generators that are going to bring people to an area to make sure you have bodies to stay in your hotel.
We've had this site cleared. It took about a couple weeks, like I said. If you want to just take a look, this is the layout of the building. This is where we're going to be sitting.
Perfect.
And
so this border right here, the wood that you see here and here, this is basically the footprint of the hotel.
the footprint will actually be the highlighted the footers on the site itself.
Okay.
These are this is just for our grid lines to make sure we have everything in line.
Okay.
Make sure the building is placed exactly where it needs to be.
Obviously, there's been a lot of changes to the industry. Have you seen a change in the ability to find subcontractors, and have you seen a change in the time frame it takes to build something like this?
I would say so, and that comes from materials really, the lead times to get certain items, even the price escalation and the cost of materials.
Sure.
There's some subcontractors who, you know, most, actually all subcontractors are dealing with it, some that can handle it, some that cannot, especially the volume of a hotel, for example.
Right.
It's a very large scale project. You need to be geared up for it. So we definitely have seen a change from COVID times, but I mean, again, it's with the times, inflation, it's just all across the board.
That was the first episode of Sterling SBA. Thank you all so much for watching. We have so much more to show you, so please make sure to like and subscribe.